Okay, I'm online. Waiting for Rick. So the reason I'm doing this stream is I want to introduce you guys to Dr. Richard Cervin. He's a professor of linguistics. Hang on a sec. Or he has a PhD in linguistics and professor of English at some local colleges here in Sacramento area. And I took a class with him. The way I know him is I took a class of patristic Greek reading group. So we're reading this book. Let's see here. Where is it? Oh, forget it. Anyway, we have a book of patristic writings in Greek, and we were reading through them line by line, and let's see. And he also taught me a lot of Greek. So, anyways, I want to do a Greek Bible study. Got the link. Need to switch browser. Give me a couple minutes. Okay, he's on his way. So, anyways, so Rick, I wanted to do a Greek Bible study after experiencing after seeing Jacob's Bible study, his Hebrew Bible study. I was very charmed by it. I thought it reminded me of Bible studies that I've done in the past in evangelical churches. And I just liked the way that he conducted the Bible study, the way that conversations could kind of go any direction. And I was just really charmed by the way he's doing his Hebrew Bible study. So I thought somebody should be doing a Greek Bible study, because I've had such a good time with Greek Bible studies in the past too. Myself, I'm not educated in Greek. Let's see here. I'm not educated in Greek. I have 2 semesters of biblical Greek from a local professor at William Jessup University near Sacramento. Oh, there he is. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, all right. Okay, so yeah, I've got a Mac, and I've got I do most things on Safari.
Okay.
And so I've also got Chrome, which I use for other things or something. And I had the Gmail ready. I'm working on another document, and I saw your stuff. Fine, I log in and it says, "Oh, we can't use Safari."
Oh, really?
Something else, yeah. So I thought, okay, I've got Chrome, and I had to cut and paste the thing, and I tried it a couple of times, and for some reason went to the Los Rios website. I don't know why, and so I tried it again, and finally,
Okay.
and here I am. So,
Well, that's why I wanted to do this.
I know, so it does work. It just took me a while to get.
Yeah. So this system you think is gonna work for you?
Oh yeah, it'll work. It's
Okay.
fine. I just need to. I went to full screen here. So I had to put in my name or something. I can put in my last name or something, whatever. I'm not used to this kind of thing, and usually with all the other meetings for departments or other things, the Zoom thing, whatever they're I don't know what they call it, platform or something. I can see it through Safari, and that's not been a problem. And then you've got something. This thing says powered by StreamYard.
StreamYard, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard. I don't know what that is. I don't know this kind of stuff.
What it's doing is basically, it's obviously the same kind of thing as Zoom, but what it's doing is it's also streaming it to YouTube, and I have it streaming right now to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
It's not been shared with anybody.
Okay.
So it's just going to be you and me.
Just so we can see how it goes and how it plays out and everything.
Yeah, and it's going to be streaming onto that, and then it is being recorded there.
Yeah.
we can, if we want, we can make it public
Okay.
and delete it or whatever. But what I would like to do is, when we actually do our Bible study, as a means of introducing you
Mhm.
to these guys, I'd like to, if we could talk a little bit about you, and
Uh-huh.
then that way I can direct people to this video.
Oh,
So
okay.
if they want to learn about, who's
Right.
Rick Cervin,
Oh,
then
well,
I
who's
can,
this guy? So,
right?
yeah.
I think it'd be good if I got some headphones. Let me see if I can find some.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
All right.
Hey, Leslie. Okay. So, let's see. Okay. Can you talk to me?
Okay, sure.
Oh,
Here.
yeah, I hear you good. Okay. How do
Yeah.
you hear me?
I'm fine. I've got my computer. I've got the volume
Okay.
control. I can turn you up really loud
Okay.
or something. And in my office, like there's half my, well, actually a quarter of my books back
Yeah.
behind me or something. That's just part of
Yeah.
it.
You have an impressive bookshelf back there.
Well, you should see more of it. There's four more shelves like this, and just in here or something, and there's the scatter in the house. But the
Mhm,
office is right off the kitchen, which is fine. And
mhm.
and then there's the rest of the house. And my wife just closed the door here, so I don't
Okay.
use headphones. Usually, whatever we're doing, we close the door, we go do something else, and it depends on
Mhm.
what
Gotcha.
how we get. And there's not a problem with this. We have a two-story house, so it's fine. There's no
How
one
much
here but each other.
Yeah. How are you doing on time? Let's see.
I'm fine. It's
Okay.
1:10 something
Yeah.
like that. The
Okay.
afternoon. I just got this document I'm working on. I
Okay.
couldn't sleep last night, so I got up finally, and I was up to finish this other chapter until about 2 o'clock or whatever. Screwing
Okay.
up, went back to bed, and so I'm just working on this silly thing. So I'm fine.
Gotcha.
My wife has nothing to do to do this afternoon, so we're
Yeah.
good.
So, I real quick, I'll just review, with you again real quick why I wanted to do this. I, I had a really good time. I did, 2 semesters of Greek
Yeah.
at, with, Brian Lucas, and he was the Greek professor at William Jessup.
Okay.
Um, so I did 2 semesters with him at St. Anna, so it was sort of like a, weekly thing. Um, and we have this book by Mounts,
Oh, okay.
Basics of Biblical Greek
Yeah.
by Mounts.
I don't know that book I saw it once or something. So did you do this before or after I did the patristics one?
Before.
Before, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember it was you and Margaret,
Mhm.
and I heard
Yeah.
she moved to Texas or something.
Yes.
Like exactly when, but and so uh, yeah, I don't know too much about mounts. It's a big fat thing.
Mhm.
Um, there's an older friend of mine. He was at City College. He's younger. He was at Wesleyan Church I used to attend, and this is years ago. There's another person who I kind of ran into in the hallway. I kind of knew her a little bit from the ESL lab on campus, and she wanted to do Greek. And I heard her kind of complaining to a friend, like, "Well, how can I do some Greek here?" I said, "Well, I can do it. What kind of Greek do you want?" She wanted Homer. Yeah. I said, "Really? Okay." And so I arranged to have like an independent study, that I designed for her, and I used this other book that I have. Let's see. Um, so this is if I can see, I can do this now. I can show this thing.
Oh, yeah.
So Athinaze, there's the
Okay.
so there's 2 volumes, um, and so I did that with her for 1 or 2 semesters. And a couple years later, this other friend of mine that I mentioned first said he wanted to do some Greek. So I redid the whole thing for him, kind of starting with that or so. And later he was taking like a Fuller Seminary extension course here in Sacramento. And he was taking Greek again, New Testament, and he was using mounts, and he
Mm,
called me, email me saying, I don't understand this, I don't understand that, the teacher's confusing. Uh,
mm.
a quiz that he showed me, and the only thing, I don't remember much the details, except I was really horrified, thinking, this who is this teacher? And
Uh,
he's identifying grammar terms or something, and calling something, this is la di da di da. And I thought, no, it's not. It's a participle. Why can't you?
oh,
Or whatever. And then I asked my friend, you're using mounts? He asked, can I borrow it? So I took it home and kind of flipped through it a little bit and looked it over. And I thought, this is a horrible book. Just to put together. This is not the way to learn a language.
interesting. Yeah.
And then out of curiosity, I found some of he's got some stuff on YouTube or whatever,
Hmm.
his things or something. So I watched one of them, like an introduction or something, for a little while to sort of see what is this guy doing. And he was saying some things about Greek that I thought, this is not even correct. This is not even true.
Wow.
He said something about the pitch accent, that they still use in modern Greek. And I thought, no, they don't. It's totally different. The root system is different. The language is different.
Interesting.
Modern Greek is like, to like St. Paul, what Beowulf is to us practically.
Really?
It's still Greek, but it's really different.
Hmm.
And I see things like this, and I think, where's this guy coming from? I don't know. I don't know what he studied other than New Testament. It's one of my big complaints with a lot of New Testament scholars. They seem to start and stop with New Testament, and they ignore everything else.
Hmm.
I complained about this, to different people individually or so, and friends or something, and they ask about a Greek question or so, and why this? I say, well, that's not even correct. Or there's more to the story or something, and I've got ideas in my head to sort of explain things. And one thing is like if I can do one, kind of look at myself like, here's the New Testament. This is I don't know. Can you see this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not watching myself.
I have a really wide angle on you right now.
Okay. So but so like if this is New Testament, New Testament or something in the first century, well, the Greek literature is like this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the first century, and then you expand it out, a couple miles either way, and then you've got Hellenistic and classical or something.
And that was something that Brian Lucas mentioned. Actually, he was talking about how the what we call Kini Greek now, like how it was considered to be, or I can't remember what the issue was, but scholars would look at it and say this is a totally different than the type of Greek we're used to looking at, and that it was later on that they discovered that this was the common Greek,
right,
at the time. And
right.
So most of the literature that comes from that period is written in a higher type of higher language, and they weren't used to seeing language written like it is in the New Testament because it's like a lower, more common form.
Right. That's historically, if you think about Greek studies in Europe and here, some like the 1700s or something, the theologians, now they're called biblical scholars, then they were just theologians. And most of them had a classical background, so they learned classical Greek and everything. And then they come to the New Testament, and it is different. I wouldn't say it's grossly different. It's noticeably different. But these guys had a much better background and education in classical, and then Homeric also. And Homer's really different, like the way I kind of imagine. Have you ever studied Old English or Middle English at all? Anything?
No.
Okay, so whatever I say about Chaucer or Beowulf wouldn't make much.
I tried to read a few passages of Chaucer and Beowulf, so I kind of have a understanding how different it is, I guess.
So if you imagine, think about you're reading Chaucer or something. Well, for St. Paul, if you were to read Chaucer, Homer is like you reading Chaucer.
Okay.
But they were educated in it. So even though it was very different, that was their education. I mean, if we got Chaucer every day in high school, this is part of our curriculum, we would be more familiar with it. Even though we don't use that language, we can read that stuff and understand it, but we don't talk that way. This was the situation with Greek education in the ancient times and everything. And so these scholars were coming up to the point, and I've read this also in the past 1800s, up into the, I don't remember when, sometime late 1800s, maybe early 20th century. The attitude was, well, how do we explain this one document? It's so different from everything we've been reading, like Plato and everybody else. And one idea was there must be some kind of special Holy Spirit language or something. And this is like the common explanation that they gave to explain this weird document because the language is so different. And there's a guy named Adolf Deismann. He's a German scholar in the 1800s or something, 1890s. I forget exactly. I've got a couple of his books, and they found all these papyrus documents in Egypt and the trash heaps and everything. And they've got thousands and now hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of these things that they've uncovered over the past couple hundred years or so. And so Deisman and some others were going through these things and looking at it, and they realized after a while that the language that they're seeing, and these are like common letters and marriage proposals and divorce and documents and receipts and inventories, all this kind of stuff that you would see in regular life. The language was the same as the New Testament. It wasn't like Plato. It wasn't like Demosthenes or something that was classical. It was just like the New Testament. And for the past 100 years, they've been working on this kind of thing. So understanding of this stuff is much better than a couple hundred years ago. And so now the understanding is the New Testament wasn't written in some special Holy Ghost language. It's just the regular colloquial language of the day. Okay, and that's everybody understands that mostly. And there's a book I have. I read a number of years ago, and apparently, I don't know why I said this, but he was criticizing this idea that the New Testament is some special Holy Ghost language. And I read that and I thought, who still believes that? I don't understand why. And who would, this is just ridiculous. So I don't know.
That's right. I think that was what I heard from. I was trying to remember what they were calling the New Testament. It was like some special spiritual type of writing.
It's not just regular, it's colloquial.
And
then, do you know the term diglossia?
No, it sounds like two tongues.
That's what it is. So the classic examples of this phenomenon are the Greeks and the Arabs and the Chinese, sort of. And the situation in Greece has changed enough over the last couple of generations. In Arabic, it's still the same. So the idea is, especially with modern Greek, it's better now, but let's see, when I was in college, I remember getting a dictionary of modern Greek or something, and there's a Greek deli. This was down in Los Angeles, in the LA area. I stopped by this Greek deli once in a while to get a newspaper, Tanea or something, the news, and just get some Greek coffee or whatever. And I remember taking this newspaper and going through it, and I could read one column, and it was easy. I could understand, even though it's modern Greek. I knew enough about the grammar because it's all this old language, and it's called Katharevusa, which is like the pure language or something. It's like one column, it's all pure Katharevusa, and it looks like a modified version of Plato or something, or New Testament. But then the next column right next door could be the Dimotiki, which is the colloquial. And it's the language. I can identify words, but the vocabulary is completely different. And I think I can understand one column here, but I can't understand that one there. And I got this dictionary. I was looking at all these words, trying to find them, and none of them were there. This old dictionary, modern Greek dictionary, is focused on Katharevusa only, and they ignored the colloquial. So this is a big problem trying to learn Greek. If you want to learn modern Greek, you have to go there and talk to people on the street because you can't get it on the schools.
Oh, really?
Yeah, things have changed in the last 50 years anyway. So it's easier. So now people take a modern Greek class, they get real modern Greek. And the spelling has changed a little bit, the accents have changed, and they've realized that we need to get away from this double language kind of thing.
Interesting.
And the Arabs still have the same thing. Written Arabic is one way, but the spoken Arabic is totally different depending on which country you're in.
Wow.
And even with Arabs, and I know this because my advisor as an undergraduate was an Arab scholar. He's a specialist, and he spoke different dialects and everything. He loved Arabic. So I learned a lot about Arabic, and I've had some Arab students at City College, and they even asked some of them about Arabic. Oh, it's one language. And I say, well, but what about somebody in Cairo, Egypt, talking to someone in Casablanca, Morocco? They can't understand each other. Oh yeah, no problem. And I have to really push them and say, no, you're just talking with your friend, not reading the thing or whatever. And they eventually admit, oh yeah, it's different, but they don't, it doesn't register with them because there's their attitude and everything.
Interesting.
And so like, for example, what's the word for wine that the Greek word for wine?
I don't remember.
Like Enos,
What's that?
Enos,
Enos. Okay.
Omicron Iota, Ni Omicron Sigma, or
Okay.
Oinos is the way that,
Uh,
so that's the old word for wine, but the modern one is Krasi.
I
And
see.
so,
Okay.
a
Interesting.
couple generations ago, people would talk about Krasi. We need to go buy some Krasi or drinking Krasi, but if they're going to write it, they say Enos. Even
Hmm.
if it's a grocery list or something, you need to go buy some Krasi. Here, they write down Enos or something because this the split, and it's almost kind of schizophrenic or something. And so the Greeks decided enough is enough. We want to get away from this kind of thing. So it's changed now, and so this is where this is coming from. But all this whole diglossia started back in the 1st century. It was like at the beginning of it.
You can see how it would be a means of preserving
Yeah,
knowledge.
right,
If it's something that's commonly everybody's being exposed to all the time, they're being exposed to the older form, then they'll have an easier time maintaining the knowledge of the knowledge of their culture, right?
right. Yeah, yeah. So like the roots are in the 1st century or so.
Hmm.
In the second, I think it's the 2nd century. There's a thing called the Second Sophistic, which is a movement of kind of like the Greek version of a Renaissance, where
Hmm.
they consciously decided we don't want to write Greek the way we're talking it. We want to write it like Plato and Homer and these other guys. Well, maybe not.
Hmm.
It's too different. And so that's where it literally got the ball going, where they would talk one way and write something different or something. And
Hmm.
it got over the centuries, it got more and more extreme.
Interesting.
That's kind of a short history of the Greek language.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I hope I really want to expose some of these guys to. We've been having a good time doing our with the Hebrew Bible study
Yeah,
and with other conversations. I don't know if you had a chance to check out any of the YouTube channels I sent you.
not yet. No.
Not yet. I mean, basically, we'll do something like this, and people will join in, and it'll be like a grid. There'll people
Right.
to pop up, right? Kind of like a Zoom meeting, and the way Jacob runs his Hebrew Bible study, they go kind of like we did with our patristic reading group,
Okay.
line by line, and talk about grammar and the characters and pronunciation and all those kinds of things, and then oftentimes conversations kind of go sideways and go different directions, and Jacob's kind of lets that happen, and to some degree. So we can do that, or we could stay
Right.
focused on the text, but either way is fine. But I think it'll be pretty interesting because there'll be a lot of guys. The people that will be participating will be a mixture of a lot of people, different kinds of people. It seems there's maybe 50% of the people participating, maybe a little more than that, are Protestant evangelicals.
Okay.
A lot of them have like a Bible college education or some sort of theological education, and there's a few Orthodox guys on there. Um, Jacob had a couple of Jews, and I don't know who's going to join.
Right.
I don't know. It could be just you and me, honestly.
Are the Jewish guys, are they reformed
No,
or Hasidim or
Hasidim.
okay?
So yeah, so the which I didn't know anything about that before, but Jacob, he's a non-practicing
Okay.
Orthodox Jew,
Okay.
and there's a couple other guys. There's a guy named Hezi who lives in Israel. I don't know if he wouldn't join us at all, but it'd be pretty cool if he did. Somebody's watching right now. Um,
Somebody found it.
Somebody's watching, but nobody's asked to join in. Let's see
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah, nobody's asked to join in. So the after I did the class with Brian Lucas, went through the Mounts book, and then Margaret arranged for that.
Okay.
And then I don't know how you got in contact with Margaret or how that happened.
I don't remember. Either I got a communication from her, maybe an email or something,
Uh-huh.
or maybe it was a mutual friend at Orthodox
Gotcha.
Church or something, either Holy Cross or maybe Holy Virgin Mary, or I don't know. Maybe
Mm,
somebody mentioned her. Oh, I know her. I don't remember.
mm,
I heard this is a couple of 2, 3 years ago or so that she had moved to Texas or something.
yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
when exactly, but
Yeah. So you and I met at that. And at the time, I think it was myself, Margaret, and maybe uh, Shane Kennedy possibly was participating. There might have been a couple others. but a couple of us, we basically went line by line in through this patristic Greek reader that you suggested,
Uh-huh.
and it was, I really enjoyed that. It was cool, and I enjoyed studying the Greek. I enjoyed being able to open up a Greek New Testament, and at the time I was kind of able to more or less, read,
Right.
and that was just a really cool feeling. So when after I experienced Jacob's Bible study on here, I I thought, somebody needs to be doing a Greek Bible study.
Okay.
Somebody needs to do it. I mean,
Greek is
if
good. Greek is
there's
better.
right, somebody's got to do it, and somebody will do it
Yeah.
for sure. If it's not me, somebody's going to do it. But actually, I can't do it. I don't know Greek,
Right.
so I was thinking, who can I find that could help me with this, and I could. And then I remembered, I was thinking Brian Lucas, and I was like, oh yeah, Rick Cervin, that would be awesome. And I contacted you, and right away you emailed me back, and sounds like your life is right now you could participate in something like that. So I'm really excited about about the prospect of this Greek Bible study. I think it'd be pretty cool. So I was hoping I could ask you some questions about your background, uh, about your biography, basically,
Okay.
just to kind of introduce some people to you in case somebody else has questions. They can come back and watch this,
Right.
and we can trim out the beginning if we want,
Okay.
or we could do it, whatever you want to do. So firstly, I want to ask you, were you born in California, Sacramento area?
No, I was born in Illinois,
Illinois.
Evanston, which is a suburb north of Chicago. So my dad's from Chicago. My mom grew up on a farm in Indiana. They met at Northwestern University. They got married. I was born in Illinois. I was about 2. My sister was born. She was a baby, and they moved to California, to Southern California. So I grew up there. And then my sister grew up there. So, and then my brother was born in California. And our little family joke has always been, that's why he's so weird. He was born here. So, and then I grew up there in a town called La Cañada. It's near Pasadena, where the Rose Bowl is. Everybody knows the Rose Bowl, but no one knows where La Cañada is. And actually, there's a lady at my church at Holy Cross who was from La Cañada. It's like, really? So, so we went to the same high school and everything. This is really unusual. But
Oh, wow.
and so I became a Christian by reading the New Testament. My family didn't really go to church for a while when I was younger. Really young. They went to I think it was a Presbyterian church or something. And for a little while, I don't remember how long exactly, but they quit. I don't know exactly why. I heard things later from my mom. So basically, I was essentially unchurched, or so. We just didn't go. And then I had some friends in high school, and we loved science fiction. And so we were reading Isaac Asimov and Heinlein and all these guys. And then we kind of flipped to Tolkien and fantasy and stuff and everything. And one of my friends got the book by Hal Lindsey, that late great Planet Earth. And the whole thing is, this is a great story about Jesus or something coming back. We just figured it was fiction. And so I read it and I thought, this is, he just thought it was a freaky story. And so I read the thing thinking, and I thought, okay, well, I've heard this before. Jesus is coming back. So what is this? And who is he really? And everything. And I went and I found my mom's old Bible. It was literally on the bottom shelf of a bookshelf. I blew the dust off. It was an old King James that she had growing up or something. And I was reading Lindsay's book, which was weird, didn't make any sense. And so I thought, well, I don't understand what he's saying. I'll read the book of Revelation, because that's what he keeps quoting this book.
Oh boy.
I've always liked, like C.S. Lewis's idea. He used Plato, and he said, well, if someone, like a modern person, wants to study Plato, what do? They always go to buy a book about Plato. They never read Plato himself. And I always thought my thinking is always, never mind the moderns. I want to see what the guy says. And so this guy's quoting Revelation. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I'll read the Revelation itself. And that was even worse.
Yeah.
Look at this book of the King. This is stupid. I read the last chapter of the book. Why am I doing this? And so I went to I found the New Testament and read through that. And then I went to the Genesis afterwards, went through the whole thing.
And you're in high school?
High school, yeah. I read the entire thing during the summer or whatever. And in the course of that reading, I just came to believe that Jesus really is who he says he is and everything.
Were you already interested in literature, and like you were a big reader at the time anyway?
Oh, yeah. I've always, my family jokes about me being born with book in my hand. So,
Mm.
so I've always loved reading. It's just like it's how I relax. It's my hobby or something.
Mm.
So I'm always reading things. I've got a wide variety of interests. High school is boring because I'm always interested in these things over here, and they want to teach me the stuff over there. Well, I don't care about that. I want to know this, and so they give me the textbook. I put it aside. I get my own book or whatever. I read my way through high school on my own because that's what I wanted to do. And I tolerated the rest of it or something.
So your family wasn't particularly religious, and you kind of on your own picked this up.
Yeah, my mom was raised Quaker. She got away from it. Later, my parents divorced years later, and my mom became more evangelical at one point or something. My brother became a believer at one point, but then he apostatized a number of years later. My sister she converted to Judaism. So her husband, they were divorced now, but he was a Jewish. I think he was raised Orthodox Jew from New York, but he's very secular. And so she converted to Judaism. And so when their kids, my nephews were younger, they went to temple all the time, thinking it's a good education or something. But then the kids have grown up, they divorced, and then none of them go to temple.
Oh, okay. They call it temple? Do they call it?
Yeah, they go to temple. That's what they call it. Or
synagogue. Synagogue, right? I always thought it was just synagogue.
I just used to hearing temple because they always talk about the temple.
They would call it temple. Interesting.
They go to temple on the Friday Sabbath service at the temple or something.
Huh.
I know it's not a temple, but that's just the term that they use. And maybe that's just what they do in San Francisco. I don't know.
Huh. Okay.
And so in high school, I had a teacher who was a Christian, and she, I was taking a class, actually a Bible lit class, that she got approved through the school district. And I learned that the New Testament was written in Greek. So I said, well, it's always loved languages anyway. And so I asked her, is there any way I could study Greek? And Fuller Seminary is in Pasadena, so it was within driving distance of my house. And I used to go over there to get books, and I was just fascinated because there's all these language books like Syrian and all these different things or whatever. And I go over there on my own just to buy things. And our Latin teacher knew Greek, and so I talked with him, and he arranged for like an independent study for me. So in my senior year of high school, I stayed after with him, and we just did Greek. And I just did all the stuff. I went through the seminar, the Fuller Seminary's book in one semester, and then spent the second semester translating. And I translated a lot of the epistles of Paul, a couple of Gospels and other things. And so Mr. Hawley gave me 2 years of credit for what I did in summer in my senior year. Then I went to Biola and I got some more. And then I decided to major in linguistics. And at Cal State Fullerton, I did some more. It's kind of hard to find because they didn't have a classics program, but I read some Eusebius and some Homer and some other things. And then I went to University of Illinois finally and did my PhD in linguistics with an emphasis in classics. So for 5 years at Illinois, I had like 1 foot in the linguistics department, 1 foot in the classics department, doing all this linguistic theory, which is just kind of insane. And after a while, I just got tired of it, and I thought this is mad. And so that was all the theory stuff or something. But then I was doing all the readings that they offered in the classics department. And then I did my dissertation on Greek word order because it's a huge, complicated issue. And even now, I occasionally run across somebody who says, "Oh, Greek word order is this or that," and I think, well, no, it's not. It's much more complicated than that. And again, always looking at the New Testament, So and then even when this is this book I'm reading right now. I think I mentioned this one to you when we talked. This is this thing, the Greek verb revisited. It's a big fat thing here. And so even in here, there's people were saying, well, the Greek word order is this way or something. And they talk about Greek or Hellenistic Greek, but they really mean New Testament because all the examples are from the New Testament. And that's one of my beefs. And then I've written some critiques of other people's work or something. Not a whole lot's been published because I was teaching ESL. So this background here is enough for me personally, but it's not enough to be a real scholar or something. And I got one paper published a number of years ago on the name Junia. If you want a copy of it, I can get you a copy.
The name Junia.
Junia in the New Testament. It's in Romans, I think.
Okay.
Junia is a female, but others say it should be Junias, a masculine name. There's a big debate about this, and so I wrote it's kind of a short article, but I kind of pulled a bunch of commentaries and everything and wrote this thing, thinking these New Testament scholars don't understand, because I'm thinking the broader picture of Greek, not just New Testament. And all this material and everything, with a short paper to demonstrate that the name really is feminine. It's not a masculine name. This argument is just
interesting. I actually would be interested in that, mainly because I know a Junia.
I think I've got a PDF also somewhere, but
interesting.
Anyway, and so, but when this thing was sent off, I remember getting it was reviewed by some scholar somewhere. It was published, I think, in New Testament Studies, which was published by Oxford or Cambridge University or something a number of years ago. And I remember one of the comments from one of the guys, he kind of grudgingly said it should be published, but then I'm not using the right sources, and I'm not, but I don't remember what he said, but he criticized me for being not thorough enough and not deep enough, or not using the content, whatever. And I thought, well, I don't have that stuff. I don't have access to this kind of junk. And my point isn't to cite all these other guys. It's to say, here's this problem that these people don't understand, and here's why they're wrong, or something. And then I've heard afterwards from other people that apparently my little article made a big splash. I don't know. I don't know, but anyway.
So you don't run with the biblical scholars then?
No, I have a lot of, like, this book, this Greek Verb Revisited. This, a lot of the articles are written by biblical scholars, and there's like a few classicists. This one article I'm in the middle of reviewing right now is written by a classicist. On the one hand, but he's got a really heavy-duty linguistic background, and I feel like I'm back in graduate school reading these just arcane, jargon-heavy, weirdo, wacky, theoretical treatment or something. And I think I have no patience for this kind of stuff anymore. And it's like, tell me good morning. Don't just say blah, 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 which means good morning or something. It just gets to be kind of maddening. So I just sort of, even in grad school, I was losing my patience with this kind of stuff. I thought the theory, a lot of these linguists, they work on theory for the sake of theory. And I had some run-ins with a couple of professors back then, and my colleagues, we had this one class, and we had this book. It was a brand new published book written by one of these so-called rising stars in linguistics or something. And the theory says this, and she's quoting all these different languages as evidence for her theory. And I'd look at this thinking, well, this English sentence is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. And then here's her Greek stuff, and this is wrong. And then Sanskrit, that's wrong. And here's the Latin thing, and that's wrong. And then I was talking to classmates, because there's Spanish and Japanese, and all these other languages that I don't know, but then the speakers are in the class. And a bunch of us got together, and we all started talking, thinking, well, the theory says one thing, but all these languages that are supposed to illustrate the theory, they're all wrong. And the data is all wrong. And so about 4 or 5 of us got together and went to the professor saying, why is this theory so good? Because it's resting on false data. And his answer blew my mind. He said, it doesn't matter what the data is. The theory is the important thing. And right then I lost all my respect for this guy. And I thought, what's the point of doing theory if it doesn't match the data?
Interesting.
And I've encountered this kind of thing, even among biblical scholars, even conservative ones. The liberal ones are worse, I think. And I don't read a lot of them, but the ones I come across, I get interested in a topic or something, like the ending of Mark or whatever, and I find some books and I read through these things, and at the end of it, I shake my head thinking, these guys are wacko. Some of them, they can't think, I think. The way they do things is just so off the wall. But then, like I think I mentioned on the phone call that we had, I would tell them, or anybody, like I am educated, but not in their way. And I'm looking at it from a different perspective, because my background is linguistics and classics, Greek as a whole, not just New Testament. And I've got a bigger perspective on things, a different angle of things. And a lot of them, they miss that. They can't understand it. They can't see it. And I've even written some, I read a book or something, and I've written to some of the authors, maybe to criticize, this is a good book, but you've got this thing or that or whatever. Some of them write back, some of them don't. And sometimes they'll say something, and I think that's just completely off. Why are they saying this? It's just completely off. And then I say, here you say this, and here's why you're off. And I give, all my evidence or something, and then they go like this. I mean, basically, that's, the reaction or something, if I get a reaction at all.
Huh.
And I think so. I just don't. I could never be a biblical scholar. I'd have the patience
Yeah.
for that. And I just, and then they're so narrow. It's too narrow in what they're doing.
So after you got your PhD, did you start teaching right away?
No, we came back here. Um, and at that time, I was thinking about quitting linguistics and going just into classics. And I talked to a couple of my profs, classics profs, and they said, no, don't, because you'd have to start all over again. You're almost finished with this program, finish that and go on. And then I looked at the requirements for a classics degree. And so I'd have to have not just the Greek, which was okay, but I'd have to work up my Latin to the same level, plus have German, plus have French and everything. And so I got the reading list, just the master's reading list or something to get a master's degree. And all the authors that they had cited and everything, and you're expected to read and know so that you can go be tested on them or something. And then I saw the PhD one, which is twice as long. And this is just Greek literature across the board and everything. And I thought, so I would spend years studying this stuff so I could feel comfortable to go in and be tested on this orally and in writing and everything. And then the part of it is having to write. You have to write a defense of something in Greek and in Latin or something like that or whatever. And I thought, that's going to take me another 10 years. And I want to be here another 10 years. I want to just, I finished my degree in 5, which is kind of fast. And then both of them, the profs, the classics profs said, another reason they discouraged me from doing classics is there's no jobs. So you might get this degree, but you'll never work in the field because there are no jobs in the country, period. Unless you want to teach maybe a Latin high school or something like that or whatever. Back east, because they do that more back east than anywhere else. And so the job market in classics was zip. And then the job market in linguistics was slightly better, like zip +1 or something. And even applying around, and there's nothing around. And so I thought about, what about Greek at a Bible college or a seminary? And I sent out about 100 letters or so in my final year as I was getting ready to graduate, just all around the country, just from Bible schools, colleges, seminaries, even some universities that had Greek programs, asking if they have any kind of opening for Greek. And this is, when I think about this now, it's like to their shame, most of the Christian institutions never bothered to answer my letters. Even Biola, where I went years ago, I wrote them twice. They never answered me, And the only schools that did answer were universities, like the University of Washington or Arizona or something. And they would write back saying, thank you very much for your interest, but we have a program here, but it's very small. We're not sure how long it's going to last. We have no openings. Good luck, or whatever. And so we got back to California, and then I heard there's a massive call for ESL. And so I went back to Cal State, got a TESOL certificate in 1 year, and then started teaching ESL, part-time at first and finally full-time. And I've been doing that for the past 25 odd years. And so now I retired a couple of years ago because COVID was so messy. Sort of accelerated my retirement.
Gotcha.
So my whole year, my day job was teaching ESL, which is a lot more fun than teaching theoretical linguistics. You have to bring stuff in and everything, and use my background in languages, the students and everything.
So have you done any? So we did the reading group with Margaret and myself. Did you do any other things like that?
Not formally. Get together with some friends once in a while. They want to read something, and often they would say, let's read some New Testament. And I would say, well, okay, why don't we try something different, like Septuagint or something? It's not quite exactly New Testament, something, a little bit, or apostolic fathers or whatever. And so we did a little bit of that here and there, but not much. It's just usually an informal little get together, face-to-face group before all that, before Zoom existed and everything. So,
right.
But,
cool. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I think that I think these other guys would really enjoy it too. What do you think? Do you think I was going to call it Greek Bible study, but you mentioned other things. I mean, we could go into Septuagint. We could go into Old Testament. I don't have a Septuagint here, but that would be kind of cool too. Or also patristic stuff. Are you interested more in that kind of thing right now, or?
Well, yeah. Well, especially being Orthodox. I mean, I've always known that the fathers are there, and now being Orthodox, I read much more of them. The problem with that I have with the patristics in Greek is the fact that the texts just aren't available. So have you seen this? I don't know if I can do this. That works. Not that.
There you go.
This
Oh, wow. Look at that library.
Yeah. So do you know this thing? Have you seen this? This is like a 38 volume.
Is this from Ancient Christian Commentary by
This is the Ancient Christian Commentary, this thing up here, the dark one, but this is
the green one, green and white?
Yeah, this like a Ante-Nicene, post-Nicene.
Oh, okay. I've seen that on a bookshelf before, but yeah, okay.
And bought a copy from Hendrickson or something. They had a special. They always have a special, and so these things are published like in the 1800s. So they're old translations, but I figure it's better to have something than nothing. And so I read a number of those, especially Chrysostom or some other things and some Augustine. So I got those finally a number of years ago just to have them. And then there's St. Vladimir Seminary Press. They have about 60 odd copies now of individual writers, and more they're publishing the same, in a bilingual edition with the Greek and English. So most of the I have all the whole set at this point. Every time one comes out, I buy it.
And that's all in English.
Yeah. So let's see. So this is the one I just read this recently. This is St. John of Damascus on the Orthodox faith. And so this thing is Greek and English. You can't see that this way.
That's right. You have one page you have Greek, the other page you have English.
This is Greek here. This is English over there.
Okay.
And so they've got 60 odd volumes like this. This is kind of thick. Some of them are thinner. Usually it's a collection of homilies or something, but most of them are English only. But more and more they're publishing a Greek text, which is nice. So I read patristics just for the content, but I can't get the language. I tried going online to find some things and trying to read, especially something like Greek, an older published thing that's been copied or photocopied over and over again. It's put online. It's really fuzzy and goofy, and I'm not going to wreck my eyes trying to read some of the stuff on the computer screen. So,
well, maybe given that some of the people in our community are Jewish, and we have various people. I think the reason I was thinking Bible study versus patristic is because there's evangelicals and I thought that would Bible would be more broad appeal.
Oh, sure.
I don't know to what extent. I mean, there's a challenge of the interesting aspect of learning Greek or reading something in Greek, which is one thing could be interesting. And then the other thing is, patristic writing is a whole other thing that many people haven't been exposed to. Right. So, maybe putting those two things together, I don't know if that would be maybe a turnoff for some people, but maybe not. Maybe they would be interested in that. But also we could look at the Old Testament. We could do Septuagint Old Testament stuff. That would be interesting as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not against doing looking at patristic writings too. I just don't know how appealing that would be for others. What do you think?
Well, if you're thinking about calling this Bible study, and given the potential audience you've mentioned, that would make a lot of sense. Because Jews are interested in the Bible, because Old Testament, that's where we got it and everything. And so in terms of appeal, that would be the most reasonable.
Okay.
Called the patristics, then you take your potential audience and maybe lose 90% of them right away because
right.
I don't know what patristic means, or what are you going to do, Augustine or something. And if they know the word patristics or they know church fathers, they probably think of Augustine, maybe Jerome. There's my wife's pastor. A couple years ago, I was talking with him. A party or something at the house, and he was kind of new, so he came to talk to me a little bit, and we got off on the fact that I'm Orthodox and not evangelical anymore. Excuse me. And I remember asking him about, for some reason, patristics came up, and I asked him about how many church fathers he's read, and he didn't even hardly knew what they were. And so the only names he knew were Augustine and Jerome or something. said, what about John Chrysostom? Oh, I've heard that name. And then I started naming, Basil and Gregory and Gregory and Gregory.
Hmm.
And he had no clue of any of these people. Athanasius never heard of them. And what about the Syrians? Like, what do you mean Syrians? Like Isaac and Ephraim? And, zero understanding because it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's evangelical. And so most evangelicals, if they know anything about patristics, there's probably the Western ones. Because he's so massive and so popular and has such an influence in the West, but they hardly know anything about the Eastern ones. And forget the Egyptians and the Syrians because they don't even exist.
Yeah.
Orthodox, of course, we know that the West is there, but they focus on the Greeks and the Egyptians and the Syrians and everything. And so just because of that, I've been reading more of them. I'm teaching the adult class, the Bible study class at Holy Cross. So we go through different texts. We've gone through Matthew and different letters of Paul and everything. And so when we're doing that, so I'm preparing, depending on what the book is, I pull out in my patristic stuff and I'm reading through Chrysostom's commentaries or homilies or something. And all this stuff. So I was reading all this, just for myself. Most of it's all in English because I don't have the Greek text anyway. If I do have it, then like with John of Damascus, then I can read it both ways.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's hard to do that when you don't have the text.
Yeah.
You have to have the English than nothing. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah, more important. But.
I'm not a YouTuber or anything like that. Like I don't have any aspiration to like try to have a big audience. I just I do want to have, basically I just want to have fun with this.
Right.
I want to learn a little bit and have fun interacting with you and with some of the other guys. So that would be the only reason to try to make it broad appeal, would be in case I don't want to scare some of these guys off if they're not into the patristic stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of feeling that it would be fine. Probably they'd be into it.
Yeah.
So
well, if it came up for some reason, that would be fine. I mean, if we're talking about Paul or whatever gospel or something, and someone says, "Well, what's Augustine say?" or whatever, or if some question comes up or something, then we can go down that trail. So
absolutely.
Fine.
And maybe when it turns out, when we actually get together, that maybe it turns out these guys are more interested in patristic stuff. That could be too.
Yeah.
I just don't know. So I was going to propose that we do start with Old Testament.
Okay.
And then we just kind of see where it goes from there. And if we're having fun with it, we keep going. If it's not fun, then we don't have to do it. If you're not having a good time, if it's a drag or whatever, it's just but I think we'll have a good time with it. I think it'll be fun. So yeah. And and you gotta check out Jacob's Bible study. Maybe just watch a few minutes of it to kind of see how he does it, and I'll send you a link to that.
All right.
Well, we've been going for an hour.
You said it would be about an hour. So
yeah.
I've got to talk this way. That's why.
There's much more we could talk about. Maybe we can hook up. Maybe you can propose some times. Send me an email. Propose some times during the week that you'd be available. I probably have the more constrained schedule at the moment with my evenings.
Right.
But maybe, so we have, this is the last week of Lent. Then we have Holy Week.
Right.
So maybe you want to try Bright Week?
We could try, yeah. So because I'm retired, let's see. Generally, my schedule in the mornings, I have matins on Thursday mornings. I go to. My wife works on Thursdays, usually all day, and I see my godfather who's in a home, usually on a Friday, more or less. And like this coming week, I've got something every day that has come up for one reason or another.
Okay.
So even though I'm retired and the days are open, they quickly get filled with something. Something happens, or I'm going to have lunch with somebody, or I've got an appointment, or whatever. And it's just kind of it's goofy the way it's just things happen. And so, but the evenings are fine.
Okay.
For the most part, I know I don't. This is my little calendar here. And my wife has some things on particular days. She's a psychologist, so she meets some clients sometimes by Zoom because of whatever the situation is or something. So she does that once in a while, usually in the evening or something. Most Monday evening, she's got something else, so she wouldn't be around. So she'd be out of the house at her own, like a kinship group or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday evening would be really convenient because,
Okay.
that's in general, because she wouldn't be here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, I would have, there's nobody to disturb, even if she were here.
Gotcha. Okay.
We don't disturb each other much anyway. This is the two of us in our big house.
Okay.
But other nights would mostly be okay, probably.
Okay.
And I tend to stay away from the weekends because it's like kind of like downtime or whatever, and getting ready for liturgy on Sunday or something.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll think about it a little bit, and maybe we can maybe Monday evening, bright Monday
Okay.
in the evening, maybe as a tentative time we could consider that. And so we'll just take the next 2 weeks to think about that a little bit, and then assuming we're going to do Septuagint. Do you have a recommendation for Septuagint paper copy?
Well, this is the one I have. this thing here by Rolf's. This is a one volume. Let's see. This is still available. Here's the. I can send this to you if you want to see it.
Septuaginta.
Yeah.
Okay.
My lighting is. See,
and that's not an interlinear or anything. It's just
no.
Greek.
It's just straight Greek text. It looks like this. So at the bottom here, all of these are textual notes from different manuscripts.
Okay.
It's not as nearly as bad as most New Testaments, but if you're not interested, you just ignore it. So, and I have two copies of this. This is the smaller one volume. The first one I bought was like twice as big, 2-volume set, and they put it together as a one volume and shrank the size or something. So that's one I use because it's really convenient. The whole thing is in one. And so when I go somewhere, this is easier to take than two things that are like this big or something.
Gotcha.
And there are some other Septuagints around. Oh, you can do this. Okay, I don't know how to do this yet.
I'm on Amazon here.
Go back up. Okay, wait, go down. This one. Can you see? Can you see what I'm doing here or not?
Oh, no. I can see you very small.
Okay. So go back where you were.
Okay.
I can use my cursor, but I only see it. So this is by Brenton.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bilingual edition. I've seen it, but I've never used it. I don't have it. And I figure some people like it. Some people don't.
I am taking dump in his really
Hey James,
long.
hang on a second. All right, give me a minute. All right.
What?
Get out of here for a minute. All right, I'll play with you in a second. Okay. Yeah, but hang on.
Okay.
Hey, Chris. All right. So, okay.
Yeah. So if you want a copy of the Septuagint that's has an English translation with it, the Brenton is one.
Oh, I didn't see that. It's bilingual.
Yeah,
okay.
English. Yeah. Then this other one. I'm sorry. I'm pointing. Go down again. Down the other way. No. So go up. Sorry, stop. So this other one by Pietersma and Benjamin. I think that's just English translation. That's not a Greek text.
Okay.
And never mind. And so you go down a little bit to the next set. Okay, stop. Okay, I don't know what these things are. Here's horn. I don't know those.
Okay. Maybe I should search Greek.
Yeah. Well, if you type in the Rolf's, RAH, this is the one I showed you.
RAH.
Let's see. So it's oops. Let's see this side. So, okay, so the name is right here. I get real close.
Okay.
Oh, there. Sorry.
Rolf's. Okay.
RAHLFS.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, Alfred. So you type in like even on Amazon, it's available. I know it's there.
I think I just saw it.
But
I think I saw it for $67.
yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
One left in stock.
Anyway, so it's expensive, I guess now, but everything is.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you wanted to get just the Greek text, they could get Rolf's. If they want a bilingual edition, so they can muddle through the Greek and have the English next door to help them with everything. The Brenton one would probably be good.
Okay.
Well, I don't have Brenton, so I don't know what it's like. I've heard who's reviewing it. It's good. It's okay. I'm thinking of it as bad, but either it's really good or it's just okay. But I don't know.
Okay. Okay. That's good. So I'll get that, and then I'll bring up a I can bring up the text on the screen here and share the text on screen so folks can follow along without having the text. But
Okay. So is there a way can I do that too? If
yes, I think so.
So I just
there was a menu along the bottom side,
yeah.
and then it says present, and I clicked that.
Oh, there, I see. And then share screen, okay. And then video file or slides.
Or share screen.
Okay.
And then you can click your whole screen or just a window, which would be like a program. So you could share. You don't have to share everything.
Right. So if I have like a document or something, like a Word document or something, I can call that up and then share that also.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna hide my camera.
Oh, okay.
Somebody wants to play with it.
Okay. Well, I also have a CV if you want me to send you a copy of it. My academic.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Kind of long. But
you weren't able to get the share screen to work for you?
Oh, I didn't try it yet.
Give it a shot. Just to make sure.
So I go to video file.
I don't think it was video file. It was go share screen. So slides, extra camera, videos file, and then share screen was the lower one. So I
click on share screen, and that says sharing tips, and then the green button share screen. So here I go. So what can you see here now?
I don't see anything. I think you have to right now. I think you're probably in the menu where it asks you, do you want to share your whole screen or do you want to share a window? So you have to.
Oh.
There should be another.
Oh, I see. There. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I click on window and I do this, I clicked on something else, and then it says share. So if I click on this.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
What do you see now?
Nothing yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, I see it. Okay, it's asking me to add it to the stream. Okay, so I add it. Oh, there it goes. There you go.
You see
this?
This
is my bad. I had to add it.
So you see this text here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you see the cursor here moving around in circles?
Do I see a cursor? I don't see a cursor.
Okay. Do you see this? It says in section 3 to 5. There's more.
Yes.
Okay. So if I scroll down, is it moving down?
Yep.
Okay. So I can go. You see blue now. Appendix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is this document I'm working on right now.
Okay.
This book I'm reviewing or something. So okay. So I can. If I have a document like that, I just closed it.
So now we have black.
Okay. So I just closed the thing. So if I want to quit, how do I? Oh, it says leave studio.
No, don't do that. That'll kick you out. You should be able to click stop presenting or exit share or something. There we go. Nice.
All right. So at the bottom it said stop or something. So
okay.
All right.
And I think I have control where I could bring it in and out. Like if you were sharing that, I could bring it up like we did, and then because there's a little tile down here where I had to click add it to the stream. And I think I can delete it from the stream, so I can bring it in and out, basically. So you could just sit there sharing all the time, and then I can add it in or take it away, I think.
Okay.
So we'll have to experiment with that.
Right. Well, if I can do that now, I can do it later.
Yeah, I think we'll figure it out. I mean,
practice, but
yeah. Well, I need to get going. These kids are trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Thank you very much for
I'll
meeting
send
with
you
me.
a couple things, and I'll try to find what I've got it on my file somewhere.
Okay.
And some of the things, usually if I do something in Greek, I make a PDF file because I've got Greek fonts that no one else can read.
Hmm.
They're really nice fonts. And they're really good and classy. But if I just send a document with the Greek, then it comes out as gobbledygook.
Oh, really? Okay.
PDF, then you can read all the Greek stuff and all the weird fonts that I have.
So we'll start with Genesis.
If you'd like, sure.
If you have some other idea, that's
Yeah,
my game.
or you can sort of gauge the group, potential group members, say, we're thinking about this, would this be okay, or what would you like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Genesis okay or something else or whatever.
Okay.
So anyway.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you very much. And do you normally go by Richard or Rick or Dr.
Rick,
Richard?
It's typing my name, so I don't know. And then just my full, first name. You can call me Rick. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Adjust this right next time or something. And,
yeah. Cool. All right. I'll save this video. I have some empty space at the beginning. I'll trim out.
Yeah. Okay.
And our troubleshooting here at the end, I can trim that out too. Okay. And I'll just, if people are asking who you are, I can just say, hey, check out our conversation. So
yeah, I'll send you my CV.
Okay.
That'll be awesome. A PDF because I got a couple of Greek words in the CV as titles of articles or something.
Okay.
So you can see what I've been doing for the past 25 odd years.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good afternoon.
All right, you too.
Okay.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.